How's it going, guys? My name's Wilson. Some of the sweetest, most memorable NBA title run includes a superstar player leading his team to the championship without having another all-star on the roster. Every title team will always have key role players and veterans who will knock down big-time shots when the game's on the line. A lot of legends tend to get more props winning a title without having another star player on their team, unlike other championship teams with 3 or sometimes even 4 all-stars. Here are every NBA champion with only 1 all-star. Starting from way back when the first All-Star game took place, 1951, the Rochester Royals, now known as the Sacramento Kings, the gap year between George Mikan's title run, finished second place, 41-27 overall, 6'1" point guard Bob Davies, the lone All-Star on the team that season, averaged over 15 points a game, eliminated the Fort Wayne Pistons to start off, followed by the 2-time defending champion Lakers 3-1. Superstar Mikan fractured his leg before the series, hobbled on 1 foot, still averaged 24 a game, went on to eliminate the Knicks in 7 games of the finals, knocking off 3 All-Stars, 4 future Hall of Famers. Big man Arnie Rison played the best ball that series, averaged 21 and 14, would have been the finals MVP if the award existed back then. Davies would average 17 points those finals. This roster ended up having 4 future Hall of Famers, including the legendary Red Holzman, former coach for the champion Knicks. The league wouldn't have only 1 All-Star on a title team till 24 years later. The largest gap, 1975, superstar Rick Barry of Golden State single-handedly carried his team on his back. The best teams were in the Eastern Conference. The Dubs had home court advantage in the West, 48 wins, one of the most underrated legends all time. The 6'7" small forward, way ahead of his time, had all the skills offensively. His second best player, 21-year-old rookie Jamal Wilkes, a 14-8 guy, an eventual 3-time All-Star, but wasn't elite yet. Anytime a superstar carried their team to the title with a rookie as the second option, almost unheard of. Point guard Butch Beard, a former All-Star, a 13.4 assist guy. Rookie Phil Smith at the 2, averaged 8 points a game, eventually became a 2-time All-Star. A 32-year-old past his prime Jeff Mullins. Barry took care of business against the Sonics in round 1, averaged 27, 5 and 7, a 6-game series, knocked off the 47-win Bulls in the conference finals, a team with Bob Love, Cheat Walker, Norm Van Leer, and Jerry Sloan. Barry put up 28, 6 and 6, absolutely shocked the basketball world, one of the biggest upsets in finals history, swept the 60-win Bullets, the heavy favorites with 3 All-Stars, Elvin Hayes, Wes Unseld, and Phil Chenier. Although the wins were all by single digits, second leading scorer Wilkes averaged just 11.5 points for the series. Barry poured in almost 30 points, 5 assists, 3.5 steals, came back down 13 in Game 2 to win 92-91, dropped 38 in Game 3, rallied again in Game 4, down 14 to win 96-95, completing the improbable sweep. Given his greatness, it's an absolute travesty. Many fans have no idea who Rick Barry is today because he was disliked by the league, averaged 30.6 points, 6 and 6, number 1 in steals, almost 3 a game for the season, shockingly voted 4 for MVP because the players had to vote and most of them hated him. Absolute robbery, a team that wasn't considered a threat in the West before the season, missing the playoffs entirely in 74, one of the most forgotten impressive title runs by the 12-time All-Star. Elvin Hayes, Washington Bullets, 1978. Another surprising champion. It appeared the Bullets' best days were behind them. Hayes, already 32, didn't do it by himself or anywhere close. 4-time All-Star 30-year-old Bobby Danrich just didn't make the roster that season. 31-year-old Wes Unseld made his last All-Star team in 75. It was more of a team effort than individual. Small forward Kevin Greavy had a 41-point closeout over the Hawks in round 1. Hayes went to work against the 52-win Spurs in the semis, winning that series in 6, put up 24 and 13, Danrich 20 a game, Unseld 10, 10 and 5, upsetted Dr. J's first place Sixers in the 6-game conference finals. Hayes balled out once again, 23 and 16, Danrich 23 a game, 5 bullets in double figures, with a banged up Unseld playing 3 of the 6 games, went on to defeat the Supersonics in 7. Hayes fouled out early 4th quarter of game 7, 6 bullets averaged double figures for the series, Unseld 9 and 12 the finals MVP, Danrich the second option over 20 points, Greavy and Tom Henderson 13. A complete balanced team, had the right mix of players. Danrich gave the team a lift to guard superstars Gervin and Irving in the playoffs, a perfect complement in a final series with an unusual 1-2-2-1-1 format because of a scheduling conflict in Seattle. A unique NBA champion when not every player on the roster saw eye to eye, got the job done. The worst regular season winning percentage amongst every NBA champions. 1989 Bad Boy Pistons Isaiah Thomas, 63 wins. Although he was the only All-Star. A couple of his teammates were borderline All-Stars, just didn't have enough spots to make it all in the East. Everybody sacrificed their numbers. IT averaged over 18 points, 8 assists. Dumars over 17 a game, didn't become an All-Star till the following season. Mark Aguirre 15.5 points after putting up nearly 22 for Dallas, traded to Detroit the middle of the season. A former All-Star the previous year, Vinnie Johnson, and 4-time former All-Star Bill Laimbeer, each almost 14 a game. Future All-Star and Defensive Player of the Year Dennis Rodman 9-9, Rick Mahorn, James Edwards, and John Sally, all tough as nails, extremely physical, loaded 1-5. Detroit pretty much had the same team in 1990, where IT, Dumars, and Rodman 3 All-Stars, went 15-2 in the postseason. Dumars Finals MVP, averaged over 27 against the Lakers, had the hot hand all series. 5 players averaged double figures, no 20-point scorer. Detroit had the right chemistry, everybody knew their role, a dominating season. Michael Jordan 1991. Scottie Pippen shockingly snubbed for the All-Star game, didn't get the nod over Bernard King, Larry Bird, Charles Barkley, and Dominique Wilkins in the forward spot. An 18-7-6 guy, 2.5 steals over a block, the forward spot was just loaded. Pippen was already a top 15 player in the league, made second team all defense, didn't reach superstar status until his suffocating defense against Magic Johnson in the finals helped the Bulls finish with a 15-2 postseason record. The 2 losses, each by 2 points. Jordan, the best player in the world, averaged over 31, 6.5 rebounds, 8.5 assists, 2.5 steals, 1.5 blocks that postseason. Pippen over 21 a game, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, 2.5 steals over a block, led his Bulls in rebounds, assists, and blocks through the 82-game regular season. Absolutely valuable. 91 Scottie, one of the biggest All-Star snubs all time. 1994 Houston Rockets Hakeem Olajuwon. Dream didn't have anyone close to being an All-Star. Matter of fact, nobody saw the Rockets as legit contenders after getting no help in previous years since the departure of the injured Ralph Sampson. A plus 1200 preseason odds, New York and Phoenix the 2 favorites, one of the most impressive title runs of any individual star, one of the best seasons all time. Dream led his Rockets to 58 wins, became just the second player to ever win MVP and Defensive Player of the Year the same season, the first to do so, while also winning the title and Finals MVP along the way. Second option Otis Dirk, already 31 years old, a 14-10 guy, a former one-time All-Star 2 seasons before. Dirk was already declining, while Vernon Maxwell, Kenny Smith, Mario Elie, and Robert Horry were never All-Stars, all solid role players for their careers. Rookie Sam Cassell averaged 17 minutes off the bench. 5'11" Scotty Brooks also on this team. 31-year-old Hakeem wasn't going to be stopped in the postseason, put up astronomical numbers against the Blazers. All-Star Clyde Drexler and Cliff Robinson didn't stand a chance. 34 points, 11 rebounds, 5 assists, 2.5 steals, 4 blocks, trailed 2-0 to the defending Western Conference champs in the semis. All-Star Kevin Johnson and Charles Barkley, but came back. A 37-point, 17-rebound Game 7 effort for Hakeem outplayed Barkley. 2 Suns averaged over 23 a game. Dream nearly 29-14. Second option Dirk just 14 a game. Next up, Karl Malone and John Stockton's Jazz in the conference finals. A 5-game series, Hakeem 28-10 got the best of Malone, went on to face the 57-win Knicks. 3 All-Stars, Ewing, Starks, and Oakley. Hakeem the leading scorer each of the 7 games. New York had better role players. Ewing, Starks, and Harper each averaged over 16 for the series. Second option Maxwell averaged just 13.4 points. Dream absolutely got the best of Ewing, held him to averaging under 19 points on 36% shooting for the finals. Hakeem 27-9, a clutch block on Starks the final seconds of Game 6 forcing a Game 7. Dream led his team in all 5 major statistical categories through 23 games that postseason. 29 points, 11 rebounds, 4.5 assists, almost 2 steals, 4 blocks. No question, by far the best player in the game after Jordan retired. Second option Maxwell didn't even average half as many points, the definition of single-handedly carrying a championship team. The very next season, Hakeem Olajuwon again, 1995. Clyde Drexler traded before the deadline, wasn't selected to the All-Star team. 31 years old, not the same player he was in the early 90s, but still averaged 21.5 points, 7 rebounds through 35 games. Maxwell the third option, Smith, Horry, Cassell, and Elie, same role players. Went 47-35, the 6th seed, the toughest path to winning a title. Faced the 60-win Jazz in round 1, a 59-win Suns team in the semis, 62-win Spurs conference finals, swept the 57-win Magic team in the finals. This postseason, Hakeem absolutely destroyed, abused, annihilated, humiliated, embarrassed, and obliterated anybody and everybody who tried to guard him, whether it was Karl Malone, Barkley, Robinson, Robinson or Shaq, 4 all-time greats, no match for Hakeem's greatness. Dream went on to average 33 points, 10 rebounds, 4.5 assists, over a steal, 3 blocks on 53% shooting. Absolutely pure dominance, a case for 2 of the most impressive playoff stretches all time. Barkley, Malone, Ewing in 94, and Robinson in 95 all shot less than 46% in the series against Hakeem, outplaying every one of them by a wide margin. Having no all-stars on his team for back-to-back titles, that might never be done again. Michael Jordan 1998, as impressive as any of his title runs, the Bulls were old and running on fumes. As you remember from The Last Dance, Pippen delayed surgery, only played 44 games the regular season. Rodman halfway out the door, 37 years old, no longer the same player. Kukoc, Longley, and Harper heavily depended on in a slow-paced system with excellent defenders. Jordan, the engine to the offense, still led his team to 62 wins, led the league in scoring, won MVP, All-Star Game MVP, First Team All-NBA, Defensive First Team, Finals MVP, clinched his 6th title at age 35. Pippen wasn't as good as previous years. Jordan averaged 32.5 points for the playoffs. Pippen 17, 7, and 5, 2 steals. Kukoc 13 a game. No one else in double figures. The team needed 7 games to outlast the Pacers. Pippen played with a bad back in Game 6 of the Finals. Jordan single-handedly carried the Bulls the entire season up until the final game of the '98 Finals. 45 points, the steal and the shot, a perfect storybook ending to the greatest player who's ever lived, his last season with the Bulls. Tim Duncan 2003. Prime Duncan was as great as any power forward who's ever lived. The lone all-star, 37-year-old David Robinson's final season, a 9-8 guy. Second-year point guard Tony Parker, 15.5 points. The second option, Steven Jackson, 12 a game. Malik Rose solid off the bench. Rookie Manu Ginobili, 20 minutes off the bench. Still 2 years away from being an all-star. Defensive first team and corner 3-point specialist Bruce Bowen guarded the best perimeter players. 60 wins, knocked off the 8-seeded Suns in 6. A way better roster than most 8 seeds was Stephon Marbury, past his prime Penny Hardaway, young Sean Marion, and rookie Amari Stoudemire. San Antonio showed up when it mattered most against the 3-time defending champion Lakers. Duncan averaged 28, 12 rebounds, 5 assists, 53% shooting, got the best of Shaq. Ginobili, a big improvement throughout the season, stepped up huge in the playoffs as well. Duncan 37 and 16 in the closeout Game 6, continued to dominate against Dallas, 28 points, 17 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 blocks. Jackson and Parker each averaged 16 for the series. Plus, Nowitzki went down in Game 3 with injury, giving San Antonio an easier path to the finals. From there, Duncan dominated the Nets in 6, the best player on both ends. Every one of the Nets starters shot between 33 to 42% for the series. Timmy D, 25 points, 15 boards, 5 dimes, over 3 blocks the entire postseason, 53% shooting through 24 games. Well-deserved regular season and finals MVP, his best season. The following year, Detroit Pistons, Ben Wallace 2004, perhaps the most unique champion ever. Big Ben, a reserved all-star. The team screwed up in the beginning by drafting second pick Darko Basmilicic, but made up for it by acquiring Rasheed Wallace at the deadline. One of the most unselfish teams, no ego, perfect execution, defensive-minded. It didn't matter who scored. Hamilton averaged over 17 a game. Billups, the floor general, made the winning plays. She capable of doing anything on the floor. Big Ben dominated the game with his defense. Tayshaun Prince, defensive-minded, arguably the greatest defensive team all time. After acquiring Sheed, Detroit held their opponents to 79.7 points the remaining 49 games, including playoffs, allowed just 80.7 points for 23 playoff games. No opponent scored over 95 points in regulation on them during the postseason. The closeout gave every series: Milwaukee 77 points, New Jersey 69, Indiana 65, Lakers 87. Eliminated All-Stars Michael Redd, Jason Kidd and Kenyon Martin, Jermaine O'Neal and Ron Artest ended the era of Shaq and Kobe. The Pistons nearly repeated the following year. Big Ben, the only All-Star once again in 05, fell to San Antonio in 7. Dirk Nowitzki 2011 Dallas Mavericks. Just like Barry, Hakeem, Duncan, and the 04 Pistons, Dirk had no other true All-Stars on his team. Jason Terry never became an All-Star. 57 wins. Jason Kidd way past his prime, 37 years old, an 8-8 guy. Terry 16 a game. Dallas lost Caron Butler due to injury during the regular season. 32-year-old Sean Marion, 4 seasons removed from his last All-Star appearance. Future All-Star Tyson Chandler, very solid. Everyone on their team knew their role. Chandler, the perfect complement for Dirk, a solid front line. Role players JJ Barea and Peja Stojakovic did step up in big moments, sweeping the two-time defending champion Lakers. Dirk had one of his best playoff series all time against OKC, went off for over 32 a game. Terry, the second option, fantastic in stretches, averaged 17.5 points. Marion 12 and 6, stellar on defense. Chandler 8 and 9, kept many possessions alive, meshed perfectly with Kidd. The competition made this title run one of the most respected all time, knocking off 5 MVPs along the way, 4 of the best players in the game, Kobe, LeBron, Durant, and Wade, 3 of whom top 12 players all time, a second option Terry, and solid defenders. This title heavily elevated Dirk's legacy. 2014 San Antonio Spurs, Tony Parker, the lone all-star, one of the most balanced teams with perfect chemistry, excellent ball movement. Parker under 17 a game, 37 to 38-year-old Duncan 15 and 10, 22-year-old Kawhi 13 and 6, continued to improve as the season went along. 36-year-old Ginobili 12 points off the bench. Bellinelli and Patty Mills, excellent shooters. Boris Diaw, a perfect complement with Duncan in the front line. 3-and-D Danny Green, solid Thiago Splitter off the bench, and having Aaron Baines, who barely played. Any of the 4 best players on this roster could have put up better numbers on other teams, but sacrifice, nobody averaged over 30 minutes in the regular season. 6 possible players could have won Finals MVP, depending on the series of the finals. Parker 17.4 points, Duncan over 16 and 9, Leonard 14 and 7, Ginobili 14 off the bench in the postseason. As collective a unit there was, majestic ball movement, one of the most unselfish teams all time, destroyed Miami in the finals. The game plan absolutely on point as any team we've seen, despite lacking superstar talent. LeBron James 2016, Kyrie and Kevin Love were an all-stars in 16. Irving made the all-star team the previous 3 years, but only played 53 games the regular season, banged up due to injury. Love a 16 and 10 guy, LeBron 25 7 and 7, 57 win Cavs. Second option Irving, when healthy, was an absolute star, arguably a top 12 player in the game. Uncle Drew dominated the first round against the Pistons, averaged 27.5 points, closed out the games with clutch jumpers. Love dropped 27 and 13 in the closeout semis against Atlanta. Irving over 24 a game against Toronto. James absolutely the best player all playoffs, led his team in all 5 major statistical categories, all postseason, averaged over 26 points, 9.5 rebounds, 7.5 assists, 2.3 steals, overall block, absolutely excellent on all levels. Second option Kyrie averaged over 25 a game, hit the biggest shot in game 7, destroyed and got the best of unanimous MVP Steph Curry. Anytime a superstar has a second option who puts up over 25 points a game for the playoffs, that's a better second option than most title teams. Some games, Irving did play better than James. The drop-off between Hakeem and Dirk's title runs were a way bigger gap between the best and second best player. Not counting the 78 Bullets, 04 Pistons, or 14 Spurs, the All-Stars weren't that much better than the role players. Which one of these title teams do you think had the biggest drop-off between the superstar and the second option? Is it the 75 Warriors with Rick Barry and rookie Jamal Wilkes, the 94 Rockets with Hakeem and his second option, who averaged 14 points a game? What about Jordan in 98 with a banged up Pippen, Duncan in 03 with second year Tony Parker, or Dirk in 2011 with Jason Terry, the second best player? Let me know in the comments below. Which one of these teams was your favorite? How impressed were you on the greatness of Hakeem Olajuwon? Which future superstar will have a chance to lead his team to the title without having another all-star player? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching this video. Subscribe for more content, more good stuff coming soon. I love all of you. See you next time.